Okay, so you bought your Delta Yak PDF plans, and this is the first page. So, what you want to do is, I don't know why, but it kind of cuts it off at the edge. Like you can see how the lines, like this is pencil right here, but this is ink. Now it kind of cuts it off. So, what I do is you draw a line from like the edge of the line down past everything to the bottom, and I also did it on this side. Now you on sides like this where there's lines there and lines there, you just measure the distance from here to here, and then do the same from here to there, the same distance, and draw a line. So it'll give you like betterness. And you only need to do this to pages where there is a part on them. So like for an example, this page, you'd need to do it to this side. This is my line because this is part of the wing, so you need to have that right. And then on the bottom, this is part of the rudder, so you need to do it to there so it can line up to the other side of the rudder. But for example, this side, there's nothing on there. There's no like thing you need to cut out, so you don't really need to do it there. Then just do that to all of these, all of the pages, and then cut them out. So I cut the edges off all the plans and put them together. As you can see, I did not cut off the edges on the edges, but they're pretty good. I don't have them set up perfectly right now. But now what you have to do is cut out all the pieces and then tape them together. Like you cut out one of these of the wings, and then you make two of them on foam. Cut out one of these pieces, and then one of these pieces. So I'll do that right now. But first, this, just don't worry about it. It's just to see if it's to scale. Like this should measure 2 inches, and this should measure 2 inches, to see if it's the right size. So yeah, now I'll cut all those things out. So here are your pieces. Now you tape them together. So I taped together all the pieces, and now I'm going to cut them out of foam. So I've got the wing pattern laid out on a piece of foam, but the edge, it's like the piece of foam is too small, so I'm going to have to cut a little tip out of this piece of foam and then glue it on. So I traced it. Now I just have to cut it out. So the first one is cut out. So I cut it out, and now I will do the other one. So I've got both of the wing halves cut out. Now I'm going to glue them together. So to glue the wing halves together, you put super glue all along the edge, but not in these little cutouts. And then you squish them together, and while it's drying, you use the tape, like packing tape, to squish it together and tape it so it's really strong. Like I'll do it right now. So I glued it and taped it. I used clear tape on these because it's easier to cut, but then the rest is strapping tape. So now I will cut my control surfaces. So I laid the plan on top of the foam, and now I'm going to take the Elevon starts like right at that crack, and it goes to over here. So I'm going to take my pencil and just kind of make a little dot. So now I'll take this off, and I'll lay my straight edge or whatever over there, and I'll draw a line from that corner over to that dot. Now I'll do that. So I drew the lines. Now I'm gonna cut them off the airplane. I cut the flappy things off, so now I will bevel them. So the edges are beveled. As you can see that. So now I will tape them on. So I taped the control surface onto the airplanes. You see the bevel right there, yeah? And then with the packing tape. Now the other side is there too, so it be extra strong. So here's how you make the control surfaces. You heat up a paper clip so it's red hot, and then you get a popsicle stick, and I'm just gonna do one on each side. So you just stick, well, you could use a drill, but I'm too lazy. So you just stick the red hot paper clip on one of the ends of the little popsicle stick like this. And you have to do it twice. You can flip it over and it has like a little black dot where it went. Sometimes it just works once, but not this time, so do it again, and then it has a nice little hole. So now I'll do it to the other side too. So you could do that little popsicle thing, but I'm just gonna use these push rods, or no, these control horns from my old Delta Yak. It'll just be easier. So now I'm gonna put on the control horns. So just like about right here, it doesn't really matter too much, but about right here, you want to have it so the hole is about level with that hinge place where it pivots. This part right there, the turny part. I forgot what it's called. But anyways, this should go about right there, and just kind of like stand it up and then press down so you'll know where to cut. So I'll cut right there. I cut the hole and dry fitted it, and it fits pretty good, so now I'll glue it. So now it's glued with hot glue and nice and strong, so now I'll do the same thing to the other side. So those two are in. Now I'm going to cut out these two pieces, this thing and this one. So I'll trace these onto foam now. It's traced out, now I will cut. So I cut it out, and it fits together like a puzzle, and then it comes apart sometimes like that and like that. There it is. So my fuselage is dry fit. It's not glued or anything, but you see how those little interlocking things go. You might have to trim some foam, you know, because they're not going to fit perfectly because of like cutting error and stuff, because you don't cut perfect or whatever. But now I'll glue them together. So I glued this top half on, and now I'm gonna take glue and put it on every single little square inch of this part on the top, and then just stick it on the bottom. Yup. So that's the fuselage. It's all taped together, glued together and stuff. So now I'll run a little bead of glue kind of along some parts of the bottom, because that's where it'll be landing, and it needs to be pretty strong there. So now trace and cut out the rudder.